Have you ever wondered what it must have been like to find the Rosetta Stone that was used to decipher the Egyptian hieroglyphics? That's what this book is all about. A journey through test automation patterns, one team's adventure through the Test Automation Patterns Wiki by Seretta, Gamba, and Dorothy Graham. It's like finding the Rosetta Stone for test automation. The main focus of this book is all around test automation design patterns. I actually recently interviewed one of the authors on my Test Talks podcast, Seretta Gamba, all about the book, and asked her what are test automation patterns, and she described them as a simple solution that someone else used and it worked. And not only did it work, but it's been successfully used over and over and over again. So these are known patterns that are known to resolve a lot of issues that you may be struggling with. The book covers over 86 patterns and 55 common issues automation engineers will face. And all this info is documented on their wiki page, so I'm sure the list will grow over time. One of the good things about this book, it is not test tool specific. It's completely test tool agnostic. So no matter what tool you're using, if it's a vendor tool, if it's Cypress, if it's Selenium, all these patterns will apply to any tool for any company for any kind of test automation you're struggling with. The book is broken up into 5 main parts. The first one is really a story around a tester named Liz and her journey through and discovering and implementing the test automation patterns. It's written in a story format that's really going to engage you. And although the characters are fictional, the situations and all the struggles with automation that the character encounters are based on real behaviors that I personally seen myself. The book also includes part 2, which has mind maps that breaks out all the different patterns and issues into certain areas. So part 3 covers all these issues and details. Part 4 is patterns and the details of all the different patterns you will encounter in automation. And then part 5 is diagnostics. So how to diagnose the different issues you're probably struggling with your exact issue for your test automation project. The diagnostic piece is really critical. And it's the one that Seretta really brought up in our podcast interview. And she described it as the diagnostic is simply something that she got the idea for the diagnostic for one of her medical doctors. And he explained to her that when someone comes in that they don't know, to find out what illness the patient is suffering from, they have a set of questions that they ask. And the trick is to ask these questions, and based on those questions, they're able to generate more questions based on their answers. So the first general questions lead to some other questions, and these questions lead to other questions, all based on the answers from the patients. And depending on the answer, the question will be different. And the beauty of it is you don't need to ask that many questions to actually start pinpointing exactly what your automation might be suffering from. So let's take a quick look at the wiki to see how the diagnostic works. That's outlined within the book itself. So here's the first set of diagnostic questions. Let's click on we're struggling with, we're dissatisfied with our current automation. We're having issues. We want to improve or revive an existing test automation project we're working on. So we're going to click on the first option. This is then going to show 7 other options or questions you can ask. So what's the most pressing problem you need to tackle at this moment? So it might be that you're struggling with a lack of support. So from either management, testers, developers, whatever. So we'll click on the first question, first option. And this brings up another set of questions. And so it's going to say, what are you lacking? What areas do you think you're lacking in? And so what most teams struggle with, what I'm struggling with, is developers don't help the automation team. So let's click on this. So there are a few patterns that usually come up with developers don't help automation teams. The first one is inadequate communication. If you click on inadequate communication, that'll bring up a pattern that talks about the issue and examples with questions you can ask and also patterns you can use to resolve it. So a popular one is this whole team approach. Click on the whole team approach and we'll go over once again the pattern, what it's about, the description, how to implement it, potential problems, and all other issues addressed with this pattern. So this diagnostic, from just, as you could see, a few high-level questions, we're able to drill down into a specific actual piece of advice that you can follow right away with this particular pattern. So that's what this book is all about. It's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of effort, and I think it's going to help a lot of teams. So definitely check it out. Our Journey Through Test Automation Patterns, One Team's Adventure with the Test Automation Patterns Wiki by Seretta, Gamba, and Dorothy Graham. I think it's a must read. Tell me what you think.